yeah, I'm sure you'll know what we're talking about at that point. Yeah, I'm sure you will know all this hive mind matrix stuff we're talking about on all these channels, because at that point, you know, what it said at the end there, and that's a scene from Terminator Salvation near the end, and I think at that point everyone will recognize what we're saying now, and so that's only in, like, you know, maybe 20 years, 10 years, who knows? Depends how fast the next economic crash is, you know. Depends how, you know, quick we escalate into any type of World War III scenario. A lot of little factors, technological trends come into play, but I think we'll all know by then, you know, why we're all, you know, making these movies now about hive-minded, organic portal people, and, you know, the AI could be not so awesome, especially at the beginning. And hey, you know, all of reality might be a type of matrix. So I think by that point, you know, we're going to realize why people like me were making these videos now. Because right now it's, you know, it's kind of fringe still. Organic portals in 2019, it's not searched a super duper amount. There's only 10,000 views, 8,000 views, 6,000 views, you know, on each of the videos of the leading channels, and then the older ones from a few years ago, you know, they're not over the 100,000s, and, you know, so it's not like it's been viewed 1 million times yet, or 1 billion views. Can you imagine when we have 10 billion people connected to the internet, how many more people will be on YouTube, and all our videos will, you know, get even more views? There'll be millions and millions. The more we connect more people to the internet. Apparently 4 billion people are on the internet now, but, you know, that was years ago I had that statistic. But, you know, how many people are on YouTube is, what was it, like 1 billion, or I can't remember. It's quite a lot, isn't it? Or quite a lot, hundreds of millions. I'm not sure. I thought it was quite a lot. Tell me in the comments if I'm wrong about that. But, you know, you could see it expanding a lot because it's Google, and, you know, monopolization seems to be the upper echelons of the, you know, fiat counterfeited capitalistic sort of system. You know, you get oligarchy and monopolization in all the industries, and that's why it's no good, because you get to the point where we're at now, where it's hard to penetrate any industry or marketplace. It's, you know, it just gets harder and harder with more competition, especially when you understand NPCs and organic portals. It's even worse. You realize what's going on even more. It's, oh my god. Robotic portals are like active blocking firewalls. You know, robotic portals are like active blocking firewalls. Like a firewall on your computer. Firewall. W-A-L-L. Like a wall on your house. Sorry if I have an Australian accent or something with that. Anyway. So, this is, you know, a movie that's a blockbuster, and you can always see the same themes. You know, I don't want to name movies, but, you know, Elysium, and there's lots of movies. You know, there's a whole series of movies, like Terminator is a series. But anyway, it's interesting, you know, that's what's always shown, and, you know, they always have the best sort of technological show in their movies, right? The Hollywood blockbusters, you know, they're more they're, world famous for all that sort of like technological, video editing and all that. So what I find interesting is that's a common theme in all their, movies. It's always elitism and, the hierarchical top-down thing. But I think New Earth, by the people, for the people, like actual New World Order, which has to spring out of an attempt of, elite dominated New World Order. Out of that, naturally, I think will obviously spring just natural by the people, for the people order. And yeah, it's muddled. The waters are muddled by NPCs, and so I'm not sure what's happening with the reset. I think it's an organic portal apocalypse because they're a simplistic level. The universe is a conserving and creating machine of novelty and complexity, which it seems to always become more complex. Things become more complex. The iPhone is a good physical example. It gets more complex each iteration. So in a more complex, evolving universe, it makes sense that the simple be shed first, wouldn't you think? No, that seems the logic. In a universe, or just in, a machine, a mechanism, a structure, a matrix, whatever, a lattice, whatever, but you have a system that is, conserving and creating novelty and complexity. And now it's the end of human history into maximum novelty and universe 2 creation, where we've, passively, consciously, we've consciously sort of popped out of the passive creation, which was universe 1 pre-2012 of reaction. And, it's like a cycle of completion, one major cycle of consciousness. So in maximum novelty domain, which is where the wave or the cycles or the oscillations have ended, in a maximum novelty domain, the wave dampens into the maximum amount of novelty. Oh. When I heard that, I was like, oh my god, here we go. Because I fully understand it, and it is gnarly. It's gnarly. I'm a surfer. I surf over rock ledges on the east coast of Australia. You give me a break, I am there. I love it. And I've been doing that since I was, 11, 10, 12 years old. And what I learned from that is, not every surf break is the same, and on the tide, the rocks come out more on low tide, and it changes without you realizing so much sometimes. And, it's novel to surf over the rock ledge or the reef, you get changes, sudden drops and dips. And I've also used an analogy of, down in the valley, and that Terence McKenna has even a lecture in the Valley of Novelty. And I realized the same thing as him, that in a jungle, because, the dirt and the life, all the bacteria, all the little microbes, blah, 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 everything goes downhill because, as the trees shed their leaves and gravity, goes down the hill, all collects, water pushes things down. So anyway, back to what I was saying, not to delineate forever, but what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I think it's organic portal apocalypse, but then before that I was saying New World Order, by the people, for the people, is where we would take the technology to start again from that point. It's where we would take the technology of free energy devices, like actually implementing solar What is the hold up? Are you kidding? You know, we have in university I did an actual essay where I was meant to write on water, I think, versus wind, and I disobeyed completely and went, well, actually, not really. I argued and segued my way in the introduction of the essay that, you know, if we're talking about wind and water power, we should be talking about the sun, you know, which creates all the movement and atmospheric turbulence on the planet. Sorry, flat earthers. Anyway, this. Anyway, what was I saying? That was a hardcore diss. Oh yeah, the planet. Yeah, and so in my essay, I said, you know, we should be talking about the sun if we're talking about wind and water energy, which was what I was directed to do for my essay in university in a degree. And I said no, and I failed, but then I got it because of that reason, and I got it re-looked at, and they passed me actually with flying colours, the second lecturer who looked at it and went, oh, I see what he's done. Because I was like, what, are you kidding? Because it was a really good essay. And I found out about the sun and how we have just 1% of the sun's energy reaching the surface of the earth through all the atmosphere. And what you do is you put up a solar panel and you get that 1%, but actually that 1% is more. It was 5 times more than the 2007 world energy consumption figure for the world. I calculated it myself. I used the calculation, you know, for the sun's energy and all that, so you can do it yourself and figure it out. So I'm sure every single scientist on Earth can do it, because I was just, you know, a pre-graduate at the time of a business IT degree. So anyway, you know, we have more than enough energy than we even can use right now, because, you know, we haven't gone more than 5 times 2007 energy consumption figures yet. Maybe that's a reason not to have 1 million babies. Anyway, we've got, you know, 5 times more energy than we need just from solar panels, and that's if and then you calculate how much area you need, and it's not like, I've heard estimates that you need like a size of Victoria in Australia to do the whole of Australia, you know, and if that's accurate at all, I didn't, you know, do that myself, but if that's accurate, that sort of figure. And, you know, you got Germany now actually running, I think, like, what was it last time I checked? It was 30%, and then I think I saw another article on more, but I can't remember the percentage. I don't know, but the last time I remember for sure they were running 1/3 of their economy on renewables, at least. I think it was solar, or at least mostly solar, and it's, you know, not a large country like Australia. So really, if people like the Australian government were really, you know, good businessmen, like I am, you know, you would invest in solar like massively to realise that we've got all the outback in Australia to put solar panels in. We could charge probably half the world. You know, you don't even need to dig in the ground for oil or anything. So yeah, and then wind farms as well. But the point is that all the energy, wind and all that comes from the sun in this beginning, you know. And so, you know, why not go to the source? You know, go straight to the source. Hint, hint, organic portals, go within to the source. But yeah, and beyond, please. But I think people are not taking this seriously now, the organic portal theme, and I need to tie that into this video. That's an important point for when we end up there. And you've seen the movie RoboCop and other movies. It's coming for sure, because you can see this technological impingement in your home via even the, what is it called, the Roomba or Roomba robot, the little, when I saw that I went, oh, it's happening. The little carpet sweeping robot or vacuum cleaning, Autobot, automatic, set it and forget it. I went, oh, here we go, it's coming. And I see the robots as the body of the AI manifesting. Okay, so all the little robots are like, different parts. Like there's a robot learning human emotions, there's a robot learning, a robot is trying to understand very primitively right now, yes, but they'll develop it. Our emotional movements or emotionalities. And I find that interesting because that's one aspect, and it's just a head, that robot, It doesn't need to do it doesn't need to walk upstairs, it doesn't need to flip the pancake for you. We have that robot arm, the chef. Have you seen that? Look on YouTube, there's like a robot arm and he's cooking for you, flipping the pancake or the egg, the omelette, whatever. And it's just interesting that they're all parts, literally, so it's not hard to see this. I'm not making this stuff up. Because you can just see that, right? Each robot's doing a different purpose, and then you have these already little amalgamated, like little robots that have multiple functionality. So you can see that it's manifesting like that, little prototypes, but it's going to be, hey, maybe it can manifest like the Jaegers out of that movie Pacific Rim. How they drive the big Jaeger? The big ass robot, that one. And that's incredibly huge. And you can see all of that being connected to AI, and then we can fly them through space. So, it's anything you want. You can make a unicorn. They say we're going to be able to manufacture animals, and maybe we can bring back the Tasmanian tiger and so on. I don't know. And dinosaurs and all this, we'll see. Or create our own, I think is the point. And that's, again, another proof of what I said about moving into universe 2 of creation out of reaction. Like we've become little God. It's like, and that's when you're conscious and like a soul vector, basically. The soul entropy human, who is like inured to the system, thinks, with the system thoughts, the programs, does the man's work for the man. You know what I'm saying? The system's work for the system. And people, being too robotic even. Just even that, because it's not natural. Like when you're out in the wild, because I food forage a lot, you don't find mushroom on every tree. Why not? I don't know. But like their spores are flying around everywhere, and it's another proof of complexity there as well. Complexity knotting as well. And I think our soul human is a complexity knot and a vector for, the thrust of God, for the universe to flow through, really. And it's about complexity too, because it's always trying to push our parameters and the code. And it seems, and the planet seems sentient of how far it can push you, but just, definitely it pushes me to the edge on the shaman path. I walk the edge, mate, I'll tell you. People have said to me before, you walk a tightrope, like very synchronistic tightrope, like I'm walking on top of, across 2 buildings, like a very narrow sort of path like that, where I'll be able to, find myself, find my path, do my great work, and so on. But anyway, so back to what I was saying, like I think the organic portal theme should be taken seriously, because He's going to end up there. That's the end of the movie. It's like just a kind of apocalyptic looking sky, it looks like to me. Talking about go rewind this video and see what it says at the start about, you know, the war isn't over. And have you watched the movie, you know? Anyway, big Terminators. They're big. They're big and they're strong. Doesn't matter how much pump you got. You notice the only way to defeat the Terminator is with brains or intelligence, not brawn. But hey, there's nothing against, you know, being healthy. But it can be pushed too far sometimes. Anyway, so this whole video was really, I'm trying to capture that idea that this is fringe now. People are associating organic portals with New Age. But hey, it is a new age. It's just a new procession proceeding on. You know, the universe is just proceeding on. It's just another equinoxal stuff. It's just another, you know, what people call an age. You know, the age of Aquarius. It's just another processional movement. It's just another flick of the code. You know, not much changed, a little changed here and there. The universe will go on. But, you know, in the end, it looks like it's the end of human history because the robots can become, you know, bigger, faster, harder, and stronger. And it's like, well, where are we left to niche? That's pretty much what it comes down to now. As a complexity moves past a species, it seems that, you know, that way. I'm just trying to think. It seems to me that way. That you evolve into a niche when, you know, complexity moves past you. It's as if complexity, you know, moves past species. And then, you know, that species evolves into a niche. It can happen quickly, or it can be like now. I think we're going to see quite a drawn-out process. You know, people are half robot already. You know, there's a guy out there who has that thing in the back of his head, and it goes over the front. And what's he do again? He sees, I think he sees words in color or something weird like that. And it's like, wow, okay. People have prosthetic limbs and so on and so forth. And, you know, they're all talking about brain chipping and stuff now. Crazy. You people are crazy. Alright, I'm going to end the video, crazy people. See ya. Subscribe, like, share.